Before we get started, I would just like to say thank you to my patrons, and if you want to support me and my content and my channel and get some cool little special perks, make sure to check out my Patreon. Hello, good morning. Okay, so I get a lot of backhanded compliments about how itty bitty teeny tiny my chest is, and like that's why they can't make crochet garments and all of that. And like, as a person, that hurts. That's emotional damage right there. However, as a designer, I totally understand the critique that, particularly when it comes to a lot of crochet garment patterns and tutorials, a lot of them lack good shaping to it, and they do tend to be made in very rectangular panels. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with rectangular panels, especially if it fits you, if it's working well for you, if you are just if you're just starting out as a crochet designer. I really don't think that there is anything that wrong with experimenting with rectangular panels. Is it going to be a garment that fits you and wears and washes well over time? Debatable, right? And I think that more so depends on like your body shape, your body size, your crochet tension, the stitches that you use. There's a lot of factors that variables that will determine the success of your garment. But as a designer, I have been noticing that with more of my earlier designs, particularly when they were very rectangular in nature, that they don't necessarily hold up their shape very well over time. And like, as a designer, like, I do want to grow, I want to learn, I want to continue creating patterns that are accessible to a variety of body shapes and sizes, and kind of has that design mind in mind. So I say this all to say that this week I was actually going to come out with like a tube top tutorial using a lemon peel stitch. It was really pretty, but as I was working it up, I realized that this is exactly one of the types of garments that would really easily lose its shape over time, and is not something that is inclusive of people who have larger hips or a larger bust size, etc., etc. And so, as a designer, I really want to challenge myself in creating a design that does have that in mind. Sorry if you can hear the sirens in the back. I live in a city. My windows are open. I need fresh air. Anyways, but my first sort of go at the design was that I was going to create it in like 3 sections, where I want the tube top to have like this fold over panel to it, instead of just being like just a basic tube top. But I wanted to create it so that there was like a panel down here for the waist, and then a panel to cover up the bust. But as I was working it up, I kind of realized that, for myself at least, the way that I was doing it didn't make a ton of sense, because I was basically creating the same row to row ratio, but I just had to keep like adding it, and it was just like, this is kind of dumb in essence. Like, this is like a lot of work, and I just don't know if that's worth it necessarily. Now I am working on a different geometry behind the shaping, in which I'm going to create it in more of like a rectangular panel. And I actually started off by knitting before I started crocheting. And with knitting, particularly knitting garments, you utilize a lot of short rows. And like, I'm self-taught via the internet, both in knitting and crocheting, so I don't know if this is like already really common sense and knowledge, but like, I never thought to like utilize short rows from knitting as a concept into crocheting, but like, it makes so much sense in order to create more design details and shaping. And so for this design, I think that I'm going to try to utilize short rows on the bust as well as the hip area, in order to ensure like an actual fit to it, if that makes sense. I think that most crochet stitches tend to be worked up horizontally, if that makes sense, and so it can be difficult to create a design in which the stitches run vertically. So when you knit, like when you have, oh, literally I'm wearing something I knitted. So when you have a knit garment, these stitches are usually running up and down, and the stitch orientation is usually vertical, including like things like with ribbing and things like that, right? I feel like for a long time I was, I loved tricking people into thinking that something was knitted even though it was crocheted. By doing so, there's a lot of really good knit look-alike stitches in crochet, but those knit look-alike but those knit look-alike stitches are always worked up horizontally. So what I mean by that is that the ribbing, so you see the ribbing here, right? It's vertical, but in crochet knit look-alike stitches, the stitches run horizontal. So you have to take that into consideration when creating a garment. And like, take this crochet stitch for example. This is what it would look like, you know, running horizontally. And it's not bad by any means, as you can see. Personally, I really like the illusion of more vertical looking stitches, just because I find that that tends to frame the body a little bit better. In order to successfully create something vertically, that is kind of like the challenge with crocheting garments. Because like, for instance, in the way that these like stitches tend to work up, if I worked up this stitch horizontally, so like in the way that it tends to be worked, if that makes sense, then it's much easier to create increases and decreases, because it's just a matter of, you know, doing it as I go, if that makes sense. If I want my stitch orientation to be vertical, then I need to put in a little bit more effort into like shaping out rows. I feel like the more experienced I get in designing and crocheting as well, I can see where some of like the design and fit issues are from people and designers and crocheters. And I think one of the more common things that I see is that a lot of people will create like a rectangular panel, and then like in order to sort of finish it off, they'll do like a corset back detail and like utilize that to like really shape it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have several designs where that's true, where it is like a corset styled back where you have to just like pull it together in order to shape it. But I think that I've been trying to figure out how to create garments and designs that already have that structure built into it. And I think that's where the challenge can be. But I don't know, I really like that challenge. I like figuring things out, and I think it's really fun. Okay, I'm very greasy because it's the end of the day. It's nearing the end of the day. I have been doing a lot of experimentation with my stitches. As you can see, excuse my chair farting, but as you can see, I've been playing around with short rows in order to create increases for the bust as well as the hip area and really cinch in that waist just like a tube top would. So as you can see, I have started creating all these increases, and I'm going to start creating a row that like connects all of that, you know what I mean? So yeah, and it's kind of naturally creating this like ruching effect in the middle here, which I'm hoping is good. I don't know for sure, but I'm hoping it's good. But yeah, and then this top portion is also significantly longer than the bottom portion is here, because I want to do a little fold over detail. I just feel like that looks cleaner. Like, I don't know, I just like that little detail. But yeah, that's why it's a little bit long, but yeah. No, actually, now that I'm looking at it like this, I feel like this would be like kind of cool as the top design itself. Wait, like, we see that, right? We see that. Yes, that's so cool. Something like that. Something like that. I feel like the more that you create and the more that you design, the more that you'll just get inspired. And honestly, sometimes like that's why I struggle to finish projects, because I will like start working it up and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, actually I have a better idea. Oh my gosh, I have this different idea. Oh my gosh, I have this different idea. So that happens a lot to me. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with what I have for now. But that, pretty. I like that. I do like that. Hello, good morning. Apologies if you can hear Teddy in the back. He is munching on his breakfast this morning. So yeah. Anyways, I have made a bit of progress. Okay, so I think I'm liking it. I don't know. I feel like I was like in such a creative rut for a while, and I felt like I was just getting like, I was filled with self-doubt because I was just like, I just feel like I can't figure this out. I don't know if this is gonna like look too clunky or anything. But I actually, as I've been like building it out, I think I've really liked the ruching effect that it's had on the waist to like really tuck it in. And I think it is working up like absolutely beautifully. I really truly do. I'm very happy about it. I'm hoping to have it done by today to be able to wear it this weekend for St. Patrick's Day. I already have like several good outfit ideas for it. So also, like I said, I like to use garments that I already own to model my garments after, and I was kind of going through my closet and I have a couple of tube tops that I really like, and this is one of my favorite ones. It's from the brand Use, which is a Korean brand. I think that the print is just so cool, and the print is like really like, I don't know, it's dynamic without being like too much, and I feel like I can pair it with like a lot of cool outfits. But what I was kind of studying with this tube top was that ruching on the side and how to achieve that with my crochet work. So this is why I have a pile of clothes here, which I should probably clean up, but there's a very happy puppy, very full happy puppy on my couch who's going a little crazy. Bless you. Is that a good breakfast? Yeah. He just got a bath the other night. I don't know if you guys can see him. He just got a bath the other night. Look how handsome he is. Yeah, you're so handsome. He's like, Mom, I'm camera shy. You didn't get my permission. Sorry, Ted. Anyways, I'm actually really liking this short row technique, and I'm really excited to be able to incorporate it into my future projects for any waist cinching kind of details. I know that several of you guys really like vlogs because it's something to listen to while you crochet. I get it. I always really want something to listen to while I crochet too. I remember I got a suggestion once that was like, oh, you should do like your day in a life in Chicago. And I was like, actually, I am incredibly boring. I don't mean to be self-deprecative when I say that I'm a little boring. I just mean to say that like I am very practical, and personally, like I work from home, you know, I work on projects for hours at a time. And if I do go out somewhere, like I'm gonna need a space where I can do something like that, which ideally most likely would be like a library or a cafe. I have kind of thought about exploring the Chicago public library system. I have already visited several libraries. I really like the one in Chinatown. I think that that one is so fun. Loved watching, you know, the old guy. I loved watching like the old men upstairs play like Chinese chess, I think it was. Maybe it was checkers, I don't really know. Yeah, like I really love the public library system. You should absolutely sign up for a library card in your neighborhood, in your area, because even if you never use it, it gets more funding to your library system, and that can be really helpful and useful for people who do need those resources. And also, the library has like a bunch of really cool resources that I feel like a lot of people don't really know about. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of public school or public library systems. But besides that, I feel like my only other option would be like going to cafes. And I feel like cafes could be cool because it's like a whole aesthetic and all that. I just could not really justify spending that much money on coffee or pastries on like a nearly day-to-day basis, or you know, at least on the weekdays when I'm working. And I think just in general, I kind of have a really difficult time sort of viewing myself as some sort of influencer or content creator, even though that is what I am, like what I do. I just feel like I am just a very practical person in the sense of like, I don't know, I feel like I'm not your traditional influencer or content creator because like, for instance, like this is gonna sound superficial and kind of dumb, but I have been really stressed out about my nails lately. And I've like never been stressed about my nails. Like I just don't care about my nails because it's just like, yeah, sometimes like I'll put on, like I currently have like chipped nail polish because I bought an eyeshadow palette and it came with um like a little nail polish. I don't know, it was like a little freebie. And so like I tried it on, you know, and I was like, sure, why not? This is like literally the only nail polish I own, so why not, right? But I feel like lately I have been more insecure about the appearance of my fingers and my nails because I feel like they're just constantly on camera, and like as I film and as I edit and watch it back, I'm like, oh my gosh, like my fingers are looking rough. They're looking rough. But at the same time, I just cannot justify spending a bunch of money every month to get my nails done fairly regularly. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of influencer, content creator content um, is based off of like living a lifestyle that is not really attainable or realistic to most people, I would say. And I don't want to say it to say that like if you are doing all of these things that you're living an unrealistic life or anything like that. Like, you know, people obviously have different means, people have different financial priorities, etc., etc. So, you know, but I just feel like as somebody who didn't grow up with wealth and I don't have that sort of like safety net to be able to fall back on, I need to be able to provide that for myself. And that means that I need to be smarter with my money and I need to make not necessarily sacrifices, but like sacrifices are, you know, you just have to have financial priorities when you are an adult. And I think that that's just like very realistic. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like if I do get a lot of money, then maybe yeah, I would splurge on nails every so often. But I think I'm definitely more of like the saver type than the spender type. I think I had my time in college where I definitely spent literally every single cent of every single paycheck. To be fair though, I was just a broke college student, and so it wasn't like I was gonna build up a tremendous amount of savings. So yeah, this all to say that I feel like I've gotten suggestions to be like, oh, you should do like a day in the life in Chicago, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, honestly, I don't know what he is sniffing so hard over there. But as I was saying, I just feel like honestly, like, it's so expensive these days. Like, I already pay a lot for rent, you know? So it's like, I don't want to go out and spend money all the time. I feel like you just go out and you spend $100 somehow, and it's just like, oh my goodness. Like the other day, I went to a new cafe in my area with a friend, and she recommended it. It was a really cute cafe. Actually, I have a couple of new friends that I've met in the area, and both of them were really excited about it. Like it was supposed to be this like new, cool, hip cafe up in Chicago, whatever, whatever. And I ended up going, and I felt so incredibly ripped off. Like I have a lot of like anxiety. I have a lot of social anxiety particularly. And I was like standing at the counter looking at the menu of drinks, and it was so like like they were just trying to be like so specialty coffee and like whatever, whatever. So it had a lot of like fluff words on the menu, and I was like, I don't know. So I just kind of like picked one, and I was like, yeah, that one. Turns out I thought that the name sounded like it was gonna be like some sort of latte, like some because I'm a big latte fan. I say as I'm, you know, drinking my little vanilla latte that I made this morning. But when I got it, well, they charged me, you know, on my card, and it was like $8. So I was like, okay, this has to be a latte, right? But when I got it, I was like kind of floored. And like, to be fair, it's not like it was their fault. It was my fault for like not reading the menu properly. But it was $8 for like a 12-ounce pour over, which is just like, it's just an Americano. Like I was just stunned. I was like, I've never paid this much for a coffee before that at least didn't have like, I don't know, like an ube, like a cold foam, like something. It's not like milk, just milk, you know, of any kind in it. I was just like, this is the most I've ever paid for a coffee. Like, holy crap! And my friend got an ube matcha latte, and she paid like $13 for it. And I was like, holy crap! Like, that's so expensive. Like, I don't understand how you can justify spending all this money all the time. Like me personally, like I got a little latte maker and I use it absolutely freaking religiously. Like I use it every single morning. I grind my own coffee beans. I have a little set of, little sweeteners or the little, what's it called? The syrups, the flavored syrups. So, I have my little setup, but yeah, I don't know. And then the other thing too is that like I do things on the weekends, but I have friends and I have, family, and I don't necessarily want to pressure them into being my content for me. I feel like a lot of the times with influencers and content creators, they do feel the need to like monetize every aspect of their life, and I personally would like to keep my personal life private, just because, again, I've got some mental health struggles. I gotta have some good boundaries here and there. Even when I do go out, like I don't really want to film and like have a camera up in everybody's faces and all that. I just find that that would be really irritating. I really want to be able to capture moments, um, and take a lot of photos and all of that, but actually one of the things that I really struggled with when I was first starting out my crochet channel was that like I do not take photos. Like I am so bad at it. In fact, most of the photos that you guys see are just screenshots and like stills of videos that I've taken. I find that videos is a lot less daunting for some reason because I can just like press record, step back, do a little spin, and then I'm done. Whereas with a photo, I just feel like I'm just so nitpicky, and I'm like, oh, like this pose isn't right, or like the angle's not right, the lighting's not right, like everything is not right, and then I got really like overwhelmed and I quit. I'm like, this sucks, this is stupid, and like this is why like I don't really post anything on my Instagram. Honestly, my Instagram is just TikTok reposts at this point. And it's because, I don't know, I find that Instagram is kind of a daunting platform because I just don't really take good aesthetic photos. Like, I'm not a photographer, I'm not even a videographer really by any means, but it is, like you need to be somewhat good at it to be able to showcase your products well, and I don't know, I feel like it's not exactly my talent. Like, you guys get to see the final product, and so you guys get to see the edited version, but like, legitimately every single time I hit record on anything, I am like stuttering for the first like 5 minutes because I'm just like, I'm shy, I don't wanna, I don't know, but then like, I kind of started training myself almost to start talking to a camera like I'm just on FaceTime with my best friend, or like I'm sending her voice notes, and I guess that's kind of what helped me get over my fear and shyness of being online and on camera. My MBTI is INFJ. I've taken the MBTI test like ever since I was in high school, so that would have been like a decade ago that I first took that MBTI test. And I think I took it because I did like Running Start, and we did it for like college preparedness. I don't know, something like that. But then I took it again in college, and then I took it again after I graduated college, just like out of curiosity. And I've been consistently INFJ forever, like throughout that entire time. And I've talked to my friends about it. I'm like, do you guys also have found that? Because I know like a lot of my friends have been into MBTI for a while, and I'm like, do you guys also get the same exact results every single time? And a lot of my friends like have told me how their results have changed over the years, but mine has just been consistently INFJ, like every single time. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but like I cannot do the little like row counter thingies, like the clicking thingies. I got a pack of them like a couple of years ago when I first started knitting actually. I think that when knitting, it makes a lot more sense to me for some reason, or it's more helpful when I knit. But when I crochet, it's just not the same. Like it just doesn't work as well for me and my purposes. So what I rather would do is literally just like do little tallies of like fives, you know? And I'm just like, that's how I'm like keeping count of all the rows that I'm doing here. I think that ruching is so cool. I think that detail is really, really stinking cool. I'm really proud of myself for that one. I did it. It's done. I did it. Okay. So I think the one last thing that I need to do still is to incorporate a slip stitch seam right here, just to tighten it up at the bust a little bit. But I am really, really happy with how the short row technique came out. I think that I'm gonna make a couple of slight measurement adjustments to it, especially when I film it again for the actual tutorial. But I am ultimately really happy with how it came out. I think that that short row technique really pulled through. I think that by utilizing the short row technique as well, it's going to be beneficial for different bust sizes as well as different hip sizes, and you can really customize it to yourself. Yay, I think it's so cute. I'm really proud of myself for being able to figure that one out. I will have the video tutorial up and ready sometime next week. And I will start working on my second design idea that I have for the top. I'm just really happy that the short row technique really worked. So yeah. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.